guys, I don't know. YouTube's been a little funky today for me today. Has anybody else had any experience with connection issues? I'm having a little bit of connection issues, but anyway, I'm gonna let you guys drive with me for a minute because I want this YouTube connection to be stable. I'm so curious who will be able to join us for the live today. Super curious.
Go past this light, then at the next one, turn right to merge onto I-275 South.
You know what? Somebody was telling me, I'm trying to remember now. I think it might have just knocked me back off of YouTube. Let me see. My connection is back again. But anyway, there was somebody in a recent live of mine that mentioned how nice our channel community is. Saying how nice the people were and just like that it's a place with a friendly vibe, and that made me so happy. Like, what more could you ask of a YouTube channel that you're putting into the world than creating like a nice community where people can have intelligent and friendly discourse about parenting? I mean, that's kind of cool, isn't it? Right? I think that's really neat. So yeah, I mean, if you haven't, please like and subscribe so you can join me again for future lives. I was mentioning this earlier. I had an appointment, so now I'm done with that. But I wanted to talk about like getting on a live schedule, right? And you know, sometimes that's obviously not possible because, you know, I have things going on. But ideally, it'd be super cool if I could get up to having like 100 subscribers. I would like to get that done hopefully by the weekend. So you guys need to help me. And please like and subscribe to the channel. Because that helps me out and that allows me to continue doing YouTube lives. Because I think like my topic is uber relevant, and I think it will only become more relevant as time goes on. I really do. I think that parenting, like conscious parenting, you know, I feel like if you were a parent maybe 100 years ago, life was just simpler, you know, there was just more sort of preset, like a preset recipe for how it was going to be to raise your kids. You know, you're just in the community. Most people wouldn't necessarily move, you know, the family was all in the same place, like whatever, you know, it was just a different time, and you could almost parent like a little less consciously because a lot of things were already prefigured out for you. You know what I'm saying? There wasn't like a question of like, what will your parenting approach to XYZ issue even be, because there was just like one parenting approach, you know. So hi Le Visiteur, is it French? Hi OG Spooks, so nice to see you all. Thank you for coming. I love the people that join my my lives. You guys are the best. Where am I off to? I am off to picking up my kids from school. I might need to stop. I'm going to be a little early. That's good because I'm going to stop and pick them up some lunch. Something I can cook or something they can just eat. I haven't decided yet. Probably something I want to cook at home. Do you guys have any thoughts what I should cook today? I'm always like, I'm terrible. Like spaghetti, this thing called shipwreck, which by the way, the recipe, like and subscribe, you see it in my channel. I show you how to make shipwreck. It's one of my family's favorite. I need like more recipes. So if you have any ideas, thank you, OG. Nice. No, it's just I just need to be like, I need to spend more time in the kitchen, I guess is the bottom line, I just need to spend more time in the kitchen. But lately I've been spending so much time literally in my car that I recently had somebody somebody I think it was one of my subscribers asked me if I live in my car. And like I kind of do live in my car, but I don't. You know what I'm saying? So I'm off to well said, thank you. You're very nice, OG. I appreciate it. I appreciate kind. Somebody was just saying how kind and sweet everybody in this group is. And I have to say, like, the subscribers that I've gotten have been just like A plus, like, just really cool, So, OG, I like you. So, please subscribe. You seem like a great mother. Oh, well, I try, I try. My kids are, I was told my husband, like, I need to have kids. Like, I just was, like, born to be a mom. I just know it, It's like my purpose in life is to be a mom. And I want to be an intentional mom, And like I was just saying, like, I feel like if we were born 100 years ago, we wouldn't have to do such, like, intentional parenting. Of course, we still would have had to parent and stuff. But it's like life was simpler in a way because, like, think of, like, social media. Like, what's the right age for a kid, a child, to be, like, exposed to social media? Like, I don't even know, Like, I think the first time, was it, like, MySpace or something? I can't remember. But, like, my first exposure to probably the entire internet was probably in my late teens. And I mean, that was like dial-up, AOL, ridiculousness, Do you guys remember that? I mean, some of you might be too young or whatever, but I mean, I was probably like 16. And it wasn't like I had like we had like a computer, you know what I mean? Like there was a family computer. It wasn't like I was on the internet. It was just like I could access the internet. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well put, OG. Exactly. You just could focus on yourself. You didn't have to worry about what everybody thinks, right? And if you did, it was just like what everybody like locally thinks. Like your 5 friends you had, you know what I mean? But it wasn't like what people literally across the world. I mean, I have people from all across the world join my lives, right? Everybody compares and contrasts, right? Everybody has some kind of opinion. Everybody, and when you're older, that stuff kind of just like, I don't know, like you could pretty much tell me anything and it would just roll off my back. Like people will have their opinions, you know what I mean? But if I was a teenager, if I was a child, and like, I think the pressure would be just insanity. Like, honestly, I have to say, like, if I put myself, like, in today's children's shoes, like, my kids don't have a phone. My kids are not on the internet, and they're not going to anytime soon. Like, there's no way, Like, think about, like, what part of the internet would I feel comfortable them being on? Like, like Instagram? Like, no way, TikTok? I mean, don't even get me started how many kids are regular consumers of things on TikTok. It's like, how does that make sense? You know what I'm saying? For like a kid to be on TikTok where anything could go. You don't know what's going to come up next. There's zero way to know. So I just think that thank you, OG. It's about the experience. Yes. And your kids are going to have, you know what? That's how I am, OG. Like, I won't buy my kids a phone. I won't. My kids, they're 8 and 10 now, so they're kind of young anyway. And like, but it comes up, it definitely comes up. Like my son, my 10-year-old, is like, hey, can I have a phone? And I'll just be like, no. My kids luckily don't even know what a lot of these social media sites are, although sometimes they say it. You know, I mean, the other day my son was like, "What's Instagram?" It's like, I was like, it's nothing, you know, like for you to worry about. I just don't like. Here's the thing, okay? Everything has like pluses and negatives, right? But I don't see any upside to children being on social media. Like, it's not that there are some downsides. I actually don't see any upsides, you know? See, your nephews. See, isn't that crazy? Terrible and brain rotted kids. Yeah. Isn't like one of the biggest like kid stars right now? Isn't his name actually like Brain Rot or something? Does that ring a bell with anybody? Isn't that crazy? Like, I just think that is. Did you guys ever see the movie like Idiocracy, where the world just keeps getting dumber and dumber? And I think that's really where we're headed. I feel like it's starting to be like a documentary for real. And like, yeah, I mean, we have a kid in our neighborhood. I've talked about it before. He used to play hide and seek and like play with my kids all the time. He's like right between my kids' ages. But then they got him an Xbox, and we literally haven't seen him since then. My husband's like, "Where's Lance?" You know, it's like, we don't even know where that boy went. He just like disappeared into the ether. And like, what are his childhood memories supposed to be, you guys? You know, think about that. Like, what kind of childhood memories do you have? I don't even have TikTok. No, you know, I mean, I've been on TikTok to like consume it, to see like what is it. And I mean, the thing is, like, all of these things, like YouTube Shorts, TikTok, Instagram, they're huge like dopamine places for like us to kind of get like relaxed, and like we can watch stuff and it's just like entertaining, you know what I'm saying? But it consumes you. Exactly, OG. I like exactly what you said. It consumes you, and you know what else it does? It's actually a thief, because it steals your time. Think about it. Like, it steals your literal life away from you. You know what I'm saying? So in the time when a child could like be how do I put it? Like, in the child that I like could be like maturing, could be thinking about things, could be having personal growth, could be studying, could be doing anything useful. These kids are out there, or it could be just playing and being a child. You know what I mean? These kids are out there and like wasting their literal life away on a screen. Like, does that make any sense to you guys? It's scary. It is targeting young kids. Totally. You know what's crazy, you guys? Like, my kids don't watch TV, okay? We don't even have a TV, which I told somebody recently, and they were like, what? But anyway, so get this, okay? It does target kids, and it's crazy how much it targets them and how precise. Even kids that aren't even like on any TV or social media or anything, it's like they still sort of hear it through friends, you know, and it's like it is crazy, you know, and it's just a waste of their life, you know. I feel like that's the worst part of it. I think and you know, think about like if it relaxes us, right? So like, we're adults, we like to like watch YouTube or, you know, whatever, right? Which is fine. We're adults, we can manage our time, and we're more mature, right? But like, it does create like a dopamine release every time you see something. It's a dopamine release. Like, it makes you feel good, like you're relaxed, right? Now imagine what it does to a child's brain to already be like kind of like used to this dopamine release, you know? It's like they want them to grow, they want them to become something natural to control. Amen. Absolutely, OG. Like, you're preaching to the choir. I agree. I think it's a great control mechanism. I'll give you an example. So my kids are screen free, right? But one time I was super sick, and I really couldn't like do anything with my kids. So I kind of broke my own rules, and I sat my kids in front of YouTube. And oh my gosh, like, I had a very curated like thing of like really innocent stuff, right? But you know what was crazy? And I never left them alone, but I was just literally too sick to even like do anything with that. It was like just totally had the flu, right? But you know what was so crazy? My kids were like hypnotized by that thing. And when I tell you they were hypnotized, I would tell you that I went to go get a drill out of the toolbox, and my son was like so into tools at the time. And I accidentally clicked the drill thing on, so it was like doot, doot, as I was walking by. He didn't even flinch. He didn't even notice. I mean, I was like, wait a minute. So he didn't notice, he didn't hear me, he didn't flinch, he didn't come running, he didn't have an interest. Kids stop eating, they space out. But having so much dopamine constantly is bad. Exactly. So it's going to lead to a generation of like dopamine burnt out kids, like in my opinion, you know what I mean? But they get immersed. Well, and it's just going to get more immersive. Like that kid that was in the neighborhood that we never see anymore because now he's on the computer the whole time or on the Xbox. They just got him a virtual reality headset. Well, I said that pretty poorly. They got him a virtual reality headset, you guys. Like, just think about, like, why does I don't know how old he is, maybe 8. Why does an 8-year-old have to be in a virtual reality? They don't even know this reality yet. Like, an 8-year-old has no real sense of reality yet, and yet they're going to stick him in front of, like, virtual, you know what I mean? So it's like, they're going to get more and more, just more and more engulfed by it. And then, like, he's 8. He's 8 years old, has a virtual reality headset. Yeah. With 8, yeah. And like I said, we never see that kid anymore. He comes home from school and he runs straight in the house, okay? And has no interest. Real life, here's the thing about dopamine, okay? Real life becomes boring, you guys. Like these kids, yes. And it's going to hit him like exactly. And you know what it is? Like, think about later when he grows up and needs to, like, do things that adults have to do, like raise a family or, you know, any of those things. If you think about that, it's like, how is he supposed to do that if his brain is, like, naturally wired just to be constantly stimulated, entertained, colors, graphics that look better than real life, always something new, level up, more challenging, more fun, you know, more dopamine, more. And then, like, if he takes the headset off and he's faced with the fact that here he is, 8 years old, in a quiet room, you know, he's not going to want to get a job, OG. He's not, you know what I mean? You can't reset. Exactly. That's the other thing. You have like one life and you have only a certain amount of years of your childhood, you know? So like these like very like, I don't know if you guys have like these vivid memories of your childhood, you know, like the vivid smells that you remember or the colors or the feeling of, you know, playing in the sand. He's just going to want the bare minimum. He won't get, yes, exactly. Exactly. Like the passion for life is going to be hard for him to find because compared to this overstimulative, like crazy environment he's always in, like real life is going to seem pretty bland, you know? And like, I'm not even talking about real life. I'm talking about like, okay, so, he's gonna be a dad, maybe he wants to provide for his family. Like, how is he supposed to do that? You know what I mean? He can't reset, he can't level up, there's no rewards. You know, there's probably gonna be like a meager paycheck at the end of it, and it's mostly gonna go to like paying the bills, you know, like it's not very motivating. Like games keep you motivated because they give you prizes and level ups and all that. You're only 20 and I still feel like there's so much more to learn, and kids now barely can graduate saying it's hard. Oh, I know, but they're dopamine. Exactly. Like the fact, OG, that you can like realize this and you're 20 years old, like so far puts you ahead of everybody else. And that's where I think, OG, do you have kids already? Are you married or do you have kids? Because I feel like, okay, here's what I think. I think, like, as parents, we're kind of the gatekeepers, you know? We don't let our kids play in the middle of the road, right? So obviously it's understood that we're supposed to not let them do that, right? Then how come I get criticized for not letting my kids play in the middle of the internet? You know what I mean? Like, what do you guys think is more, like, dangerous? The kids playing in the road outside of my house by themselves and, like, me being like, watch out for cars, guys. Like, that would be irresponsible, right? But if I let them play on the internet and be like, just watch out for weird stuff, you know, it's like a child cannot, in my opinion, like, a child cannot just independently discern, like, what's good content, what's bad content, what's appropriate content, what's not. And you know, once you see or hear something, it's, you can't unsee it and unhear it, right? And if you think about, like, even if they never run across anything like ultra violent or ultra bad, still, like, that their brain's getting bathed in dopamine all day long, you know. I mean, it's not even studied. I mean, think about, like, all of humanity. Dopamine was saved for, like, special occasions, right? So when you caught the big, you know, you caught a deer or something, you're hunting and you know, somehow shoot a deer or something, you have food, right? Or you find a field of berries and you get this rush of dopamine historically. Like, if you think of our ancestors, like, where the dopamine comes from, and it rewards you for it, right? But, like, sitting on your couch scrolling through YouTube shorts bathes you in dopamine. Like, what are the long-term, has that been studied? Like, what are the long-term clinical consequences of something like that happening, you know? On a brain, on, like, a developing, you know, brain of a child. I mean, I don't even know what the consequences are for adults, quite frankly. I mean, I know that there's people that really genuinely have, like, internet addictions, and I think that kind of loops back to the dopamine as adults, you know. But again, I put adults on a whole different level than I do children, because, again, adults are adults. We have all kinds of choices, right? Adults are alcoholics, adults are, you know, whatever other issues going on, and that's sad. And there's, you know, but as parents, we're tasked to, like, protect our children, right? And so that's, to me, like, an adult doing what they do is what they're due. Like, there's nothing we can do about that, right? We can work on ourselves, right? So it was for a reward, and now people just spend all day on their phones. Exactly. I'd rather kid play outside. You, OG, you have to subscribe to my channel, because we are, like, one exact voice. You can't really, because it's still something new. It is new. It is new. So we can't really study, you know, the effects on the brain yet. But are we experimenting on our kids? Why don't we study adults first and see how that worked out for us, right? And then we study kids. Maybe that's the best way to do it, you know? And, like, you know, the thing that bothers me the most almost is, like, when people say your kids will experience it one day anyway. It's like, yeah, agreed. Like, yeah, I can't keep my kids away from, like, the internet forever. But I can while they are with me, you know. I actually physically can, because I'm their mom, and I can choose, like, what school to send them to, and I can choose, I mean, we have so much more choice now, you know. Things are much more nuanced. I can choose what school I send them to. I can choose what I expose them to. I can choose so many things. So no, they're not going to be online anytime soon. And yeah, of course, they're not going to be living with me forever. But they'll also be more mature. And you know what else? They're going to have a lot of core memories. Like, I know my son, one of his core memories is going to be the time he sat in our neighbor's apple tree picking and eating apples. And, you know, just that feeling of being up in the tree. It's a sunny afternoon. It was like a mild day, blue sky, white puffy clouds, you know what I'm saying? And my children have hundreds and thousands of these memories, and they're going to in some way outweigh, overshadow, overpower um, them. In other words, even if in the future they're into electronic stuff, fine, but those core memories from their childhood are not going to be on a screen, you know. And yeah, you have to tell them right from wrong. You're absolutely right, you know. Children are easier to manipulate. They know it's scary facts. That's why you have to keep. Yeah, I mean, that's what I think, you know. Like I said, I don't send my kids out into, you know, at their age. I wouldn't just drop them off wherever I'm driving right now and wish them good luck and just figure that they're probably going to be okay. Like, you can't look at it like that, you know. And the internet actually is not, the internet is just people, you know what I mean? And ultimately the internet, or bots, or all kinds of stuff, right? So, but the internet is basically just a random collection of thoughts and people and pictures, and it's basically everything, almost everything that you could possibly think of or see, or, you know, and that's a lot to navigate, you know, for anybody. But like for a child, I think that's an impossibility to navigate. I really think so, you know. I think that a child doesn't have like the tools, they don't have like the discernment, they don't have a lot of the tools to really make a good assessment whether what they're seeing there makes any sort of sense. Does that make sense? Oh, I applaud you, OG, and I applaud this whole like community. Like, if you look at like my subscribers, I'm so proud of you guys, you know. It felt real when I was growing up, and for a few years now it feels like we're in an episode. It does feel like it does feel like an episode of South Park. And you know, like, doesn't like life feel less real, like, in a weird way? Even the food seems different. Does anybody notice like our food seems faker? I have this pumpkin. If you subscribe to my channel, go look at some of my shorts. I have a pumpkin that's been in my yard for 6 months. I bought it for Halloween from this church sale and put it outside, and it like will not rot. It's such a weird thing. I feel like food decays a lot slower. When I pack the kids' lunch boxes, you know, don't you remember like when you were little, you bite in an apple and it turns like brown in 1 second and you're like, ew, gross. Well, now I get the kids' lunch boxes back and they left them in the car over a weekend one time. What would you expect like the raspberries to look like after they've been in a Florida hot sun over the weekend car? What would you think that raspberries would look like that were left in a lunchbox over the weekend in a hot car? Answer: they looked as if they're from the grocery store, you guys. Like, can you explain that to me? Like, they look like you could just open it and eat it. Like, there's no way that makes any sense. It's like somebody is fucking with our food. Pardon my French. But somebody is screwing with our food. I just know it. I just totally know that. I don't know if the food's being coated with something or something's happening, but call me crazy. The food is different. Like, the taste is different. I grow like a lot of my own food, and it acts completely differently than any of the food I buy in the store. Really. Makes no sense, you all. Sorry, you just got me on my soapbox of fooding. My niece gave me a pear and its skin felt like plastic. Isn't that weird? Everything in the US is consumable anymore. Yeah, you know what? I feel like I'm crazy when I talk about that, so I don't really talk about it, but like, even the meat has been funky as all funk. I buy this chicken for my dog, and I buy like the chicken legs, right? And I don't buy like the super cheap meat for us because I don't trust it and it's sketchy. But for the dogs, I buy this chicken legs from Costco. And you guys know what's crazy is they're all the same. I don't know how to put it, but like the meat comes off super easy. Do you remember like back in the days at Thanksgiving, your dad would have like these big scissors and cut that turkey and all that? Now it's just like it. Oh, you did? You travel? Yeah, exactly, OG. Um, but like now I cook this chicken and it comes apart and it's like I don't know how to explain it to you guys, but like my dogs like the cartilage parts, you know, of the chicken leg. And I swear to you guys, it feels so fake. And like when I get the really super duper uber cheapy chicken legs from Costco, neither of my dogs will eat it. Seriously, like I have to get the slightly more expensive, terrible quality kind from Costco, and then my dogs will eat it. But like, that's sketchy, you know? And I've had like steak that just was like, this is different, you know? And I know it because when we go up north, we actually get meat from like a butcher, and it's different, you guys. It's like a whole different thing, you know? Or like, remember how like strawberries and blueberries were like now most blueberries in the store are like the size of cherries, you guys. Remember when blueberries were the size of like blueberries and cherries were the size of cherries? So, your cat wouldn't eat a piece of chicken yesterday. Yes, it was just a plain piece cooked and everything. She smelled it and left. Yeah, nothing feels legit. I know, right? I know, like life felt real. Like, and I'm trying to remember, did life start feeling less real after 2020, 2022? Like, when did you guys like notice the shift? Was there like a shift or something? And when it started feeling just super duper fake? Yeah, nothing seems legit. I know, it's the weirdest thing. But I think that's part of that consciousness I was talking about. Like, there is a counter movement, you know, there's a counter movement. There is a movement of people that want real, that want like genuine, non-AI, non-robot, like just a real connection. You know what I'm saying? It all happened since 2020. Weird. That's exactly how I feel. Y'all, that's weird. That's when it started feeling weird to me too. It was 2020. That's when it got very plasticky and very like, and the food definitely. I mean, and you know what else is weird? So I have a compost outside, and I keep a bowl of like scraps in the kitchen while I'm cooking and stuff. And I remember in the past there was like tons of little like fruit flies and stuff, and now no fruit flies. It's almost like they wanted us to stay alone and disassociate. Probably entirely possible. I mean, have you read about like insect decline? I mean, the whole thing is all connected. It's like again, when we're up north where it's less artificial than where we live here, my dog went to the bathroom and like 10 flies were immediately like sitting on the poop. Here, I did an experiment. I'm going to do this on my channel. Maybe I'll do it live, or maybe I'll do a short or something summarizing it. But I actually left like dog poop laying outside in my driveway, and no flies came, you guys. Nothing came. It's like this pumpkin that won't decay. Like, I don't want to live in a plastic world, guys. What's happening? You know, and everybody did lose respect, yeah. They did. And everybody makes themselves like number one priority, you know. And to a degree, sure, you have to be your own priority, but kindness, courtesy, all that stuff totally matters, you know, I think, anyway. It's never been about politics, that's the thing. You know, I think people on both sides, I think they each can justify it, how they feel. I feel like our social media feeds make us more going into one camp or another, and that's very dangerous. You know, I could see somebody like a China or some other country kind of like messing with those algorithms to make people like more extreme on either side and like completely annihilate normal people, you know. But remember in the day, like we were all normal, like we would have like some political differences, but it wasn't like you had like total tribalism in the US, you know. There's no more fixing Have you seen the debt? Listen, I think there's always fixing. I think that we can't give up hope. You know, we cannot give up hope. We got to keep thinking in good ways. You know, and also, you know what else we can do? We can kind of vote with our wallet, vote with who we support, and like keep things very local. You know, and like lift up good people. You know, that's all I can say is like, yeah, the debt, we're pretty much fucked. I get it, but land of hope, maybe, yeah. I mean, where would you go though, you know? Where would you go? Like if you weren't in America, like where would you go? It was a dream of the past. Yeah. It's hard. I mean, things have definitely changed. I'm not gonna lie. But that's why I think also that this technology makes people more depressed. I really do think so. Their vitamin D levels go down. You know, they're sitting inside more. You know, vitamin D has like a proven effect on your mood, right? So, we need to think about all these things, you know, and we need to be positive forces. That's what's scary. There isn't much better because there's always cons and pros to everything. Yeah, you're right. Absolutely right, you know. That's why I kind of think that we have to be a light, you know, and be like a positive influence, you know. Like if I'm sitting here, boom, boom, positive around me, and you do it, and the next person does it, and our little community grows, we make a difference. You know, people do emulate those around them. People do say, "Whoa, why are you so happy?" You know, and like we have to kind of keep moving forward, and we have to say, for my part, I'm not participating in this or that. You know, like self-driving car. It's a butterfly effect, exactly. And like for my part, am not participating in the technology thing. I'm not, you know. And if it's like, I remember I was trying to sign my kids up to do some activity. Oh yeah, ice skating or something. And they were like, you need to sign up on this app to sign the waiver. I'm like, I don't have the app. I don't want the app. I'll sign your waiver, you know. So they had to run around and find a printer and print it out for me. But no, I think we just have to draw the line somewhere and say, like, I am not participating. You know, mommy, everybody has a phone. We are not participating. You know, can I have an iPad? No, I'm not participating. I'm not participating. Like, we have to be the butterfly effect, you know? We just got to. I know, right? Nobody, you know what? Job applications are not done in person anymore, but it completely makes everybody like disappear into a virtual black hole. It's supposed to make the process more fair, but I think it doesn't. I think it makes you just completely lost in whatever, you know. Hold on a second. Let me just make sure I don't have somewhere to be right now. I actually gotta run. I'll talk to you guys later. Please like and subscribe.